I'll be right there. I'm coming. All right. I'm coming. I am back. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Quest Show. This sounds weird because I think I've been doing it wrong for the past couple of weeks. Sorry. Welcome to the Quest Show. I am your host, Lana Quest, and this is my lovely co-host.
Honored to be here.
Yeah. So before we get into the show, we are going to do some things. We're going to ask you guys to please like this video, share it. If you're out there watching, you haven't watched this before, you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We do work hard here. I know we make it seem seamless, but you know, there's just a lot of paper going on. We do some work. So we would appreciate you subscribing to our channel and giving us a look. Yeah, we'd appreciate it. So how was your week, Honor?
Girl, it has just been a week. What is today? Thursday?
Right. What is today?
It's just been a heavy week. Right. It's been a heavy week. And you and I actually, a heavy 2 weeks. You and I actually started the show, quote unquote, talking amongst ourselves before you hit go live. So we have a lot to talk about. Before we get to the heavy of the week, there are some other things that went on in the news, though.
Yeah. Anything good, happy?
Primaries. I mean, and I guess it's good that they happened. It's the regular order of things, right? They weren't sabotaged. No one is saying that, the voting machines came from Mars or anything like that. They happened.
Come from Mars.
I mean,
it is true. It is good to get the lighthearted stuff. You're absolutely right. It is good to get lighthearted stuff out in front of this heavy show. So thank you. It was the primaries.
Georgia, Arkansas, Pennsylvania, Alabama had key races. Purdue lost in Georgia. I think that makes me happiest of all. Sit down.
Yeah, because that was Trump's guy. So,
of course,
like we're not rooting for Kemp.
I'm not rooting for Kemp or Raffensperger, and they both won their primaries. But in a repudiation to Trump, and the fact that I don't know what Raffensperger is going to do the next time around, but he certainly did maintain the integrity of the Georgia elections this time around.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that goes to show you, and I know we're going to get into gun reform later on, but how the Republicans don't want the gun reform because our voters. But here are two people who kind of went against the voters on this big thing, that the big lie, right?
Which is Trump. Exactly.
Is Trump. And they still won their primary. So that's not an excuse, but I know we'll get into it. But I just wanted to call that out, like Raffensperger. What? I don't know how to say his name. He won, and Kemp won, and both of them were against the big lie.
Yeah, and more importantly, Kemp will be going up against Stacey Abrams in November for the general election.
Yeah,
we're just gonna have to say that for another show because we do have a lot to get to.
What else happened? Oh, go ahead.
You told me about Arkansas, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and handle that one because what?
Yeah, I didn't even know that. The second liar in chief, I don't know, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the woman who was what was she? She was press secretary, press secretary, coming up to that mic lying every single day. Well, she ran for governor of Arkansas and she won the primary. Who knew? Who knew these people are still around?
She just popped up out of nowhere.
She really and truly did. Sarah Huckabee. Do you know who else ran? I don't think that he won. George Bush's nephew.
He did not.
He didn't win. Okay.
Yeah, because I just saw briefly an article where it said it kind of ended the political
Ken Paxton. Yeah. He ran against Ken Paxton. Right.
That's Texas Attorney General.
He wasn't going to beat Ken Paxton. That was a big name.
Not that ghoul.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Well, you know what? But the Bushes are a big name in Texas as well.
That is true. But Ken
Paxton, yeah, they hail from Texas. He was trying to go for the quad with the presidential thing, I guess. Or, yeah.
Well, I'm
sure
at some point. Future for him. I don't know his politics, but who was Kay Ivey? Another ghoul.
Won the primary in Alabama.
Yeah, another ghoul. She won her primary. There was another ghoul. Marjorie Taylor Greene won her primary.
Oh yeah, she did. Who was she going to go up against?
Marcus.
Oh, isn't she going? No, that's not Cheryl Beasley. No, because
you mean who she went in? You mean in the primaries
in November?
Oh, isn't that Marcus?
I know Marcus was running in the primary. Oh wait, but he was running as a Democrat. Did he win the primary?
She's going against Marcus Flowers. Like he's writing. I mean
Marcus Flowers.
Yeah.
When is that?
I don't know if he had anyone that he ran against. I don't know. I know he had, but I remember he did have someone, but I don't know if that person dropped out. But it's Marcus Flowers against Marjorie Taylor Greene right now.
In the general election?
Yes, and she knows it. Before the primary, she went to his office. He has video, like he posted video of her going to his office.
To do what?
To try to, I was going to say like, to be like a thug, but like, girl, you didn't even win the primary yet. Like it was right before the primary. She went to him
and said, but I mean, like,
I don't know. It was like, if you go on his Twitter page, if you guys want to see it, if you go on his Twitter page, he posted a video, like it didn't have any sound because it was his CTV video, or whatever.
Oh, was he even there?
No, she just went in. I think maybe his staff was there, but they watched the video and he posted it. I forgot what his tweet said about it, but yeah.
Snooping, you're stalking.
Probably right. Stalking.
You know what that means? That she senses a threat. Like seriously.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why would you bother?
Why would you bother?
Yeah. Let's go.
Seriously, why would you bother?
Go. We need to get Marcus Flowers trending nationally, like we were able to do for Chantel Brown. Let's go.
I agree, and I am actually going to put his information in our description so that you guys can donate to, because we
can get Marjorie out. Oh man,
and get Marcus in. That would be amazing. So I would love that. So what happened in Pennsylvania? I think there's a recount, correct?
Oh yeah, Oz and oh dang, McCormick
and McCormick, yeah.
Going to a recount.
Right. Can we stop calling him doctor? Oh, he is a doctor. He's a retired
He's
doctor.
An actual doctor.
Yeah, he's a retired doctor. That is right. I guess we do have to keep calling him Dr. Oz.
I just said Oz. Mehmet.
Mehmet.
I thought it was a Mel.
Isn't it M-E-H-M-E-T? Mehmet? M-E-H-M-E-T.
Oh. I'm going to stick with Oz.
We can stick with Oz. Did you talk about Herschel or Herschel? Did you talk about Herschel yet?
Let me tell you something. They are saying that, oh yeah, he won his primary. Yeah. Okay, Trump, you got one, whatever.
Got one.
But they are saying that is supposed to be a competitive race. Less down ballot, Georgia. Less down ballot.
Right.
Stacey, Raphael. Right. Let's keep right on going down ballot. Right. Down ballot Democrat. Down ballot.
Right.
Stop playing. Stop playing.
You, Georgia, you do not want Herschel Walker as your senator. I know you don't. You cannot.
Just think Tommy Tuberville.
You cannot. He can't even form a sentence. Oh my goodness. Awful. Yeah. Down ballot. You're absolutely right. Is that all that happened? I think that's it. Alabama, Arkansas,
as
Georgia,
far as primaries, I mean, they're going to keep rolling in.
Oh, yeah. Right. They did say Georgia had a high turnout. So
what? Yes, they did. Over primary.
Yeah.
What? With the new restrictions in place, stop playing.
Right. That's
Won't we do it?
Yeah, we will. Step up, Georgia. Step up. Come on, let's go.
Let's go.
Oh gosh. What is next on the menu? Southern Baptist Convention was in the news this week. Like all you had to do is say Southern Baptist Convention was in the news and you could just guess why. It's got to be some nonsense. Yeah, what else can it be?
Something sexual. I just cannot fathom. And before we go
ahead.
So the president of the convention has stepped down, and I'm not even going to name a whole bunch of names because I don't know him. He is being investigated for sexual assault allegations. They it's the Southern Baptist Convention, but it's actually a conglomerate of churches. Right. And I want to say they had like, I might be misquoting, but like 75,000 churches that were affiliated with them. That might be a high number.
And it may be true.
Please just correct me if so. But their answer to sexual assault allegations was to ignore them. And you can ignore varying levels, whatever. Just completely not answer the email, not acknowledge that it was sent, just ignore. And this was the advice given to them by their counsel, who I believe is also, they're looking at now snatching his pension back. Because he retired, I want to say in 2012, but that was counsel for a number of years. The board was kept unaware of assault allegations. They did not inform any of the churches. They did not, they just didn't act on it. They discouraged women that did come forward. They just did absolutely nothing. However, and they told people that because it was a church and it wasn't actually them, it wasn't them, that there was nothing they could do. They couldn't report it. They didn't report it. They didn't tell the church. They didn't do anything. They just left people in place. Right. But they did compile a list of all of the people.
Is that the database?
Is it ever?
Is that the database?
Girl, there were like, it was like over 700 people in this list. A database, that's a wieldy, big database.
Right.
And then I want to say, I read one article where they said 9 of them are still in ministry.
And that's unbelievable.
Active ministry.
Unbelievable. DA said, sounds like the Catholic Church. It's just
it really does.
It's the Christian way. Like we were just talking about this, right? Like I don't know a lot about this particular Southern Baptist Convention, whatever. But it's like, guess what? I can have a whole conversation about it because it's the Christian way. This is what they do. They hide sexual abuse. They, just over the years, like DA said, the Catholic Church, it's almost like they go into being, pastors and ministers and stuff so they can get next to like the choir boys, the little boys, the little girls. Like they're all predators in the database. They made to hide each other, like to protect each other.
And let me tell you something, girl. They the article that I read said they had bylaws in place for any church that decided that they wanted to ordain a woman minister. They dealt with that. Or any church, what was the other thing? Or any church that wanted to discuss acceptance of homosexuality or kind of welcome that. They dealt with that too. But sexual assault, silence. And we are not talking adult to adult.
Right.
All female to male.
Right.
But you have bylaws to deal with homosexuality.
Right.
But you keeping a list of homosexuals. That includes homosexuals for sure. For sure.
Absolutely. Like
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. That includes pedophiles.
Right.
Because it's not against any bylaws for 2 adult men to come together and be together. It is definitely against laws for a older minister to deal with anyone under 18. And that's called pedophilia. That's not homosexuality. I just wanted to make that clear, because
no, it's true.
I'm not trying to denigrate that community in any way, shape, or form. So yeah.
Right. Well, no, we are trying to denigrate these people that hide behind religion.
Right. I mean, LGBTQ. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. I know.
I'm making that distinction.
Right. Absolutely. Right. Because oftentimes when we talk about this, we make it, and that's not what it is. It is pedophilia. That's the very thing that they're always accusing other people of. And again, they remain silent. The women remain silent. They know that this is happening, but they don't say a word. It's from the beginning of time. Men have just run amok and did whatever they wanted to do. And they still are.
Well, girl, I also read another article, and we're going to move on from this, but just on this same vein, I read another article where there was a pastor at a church that stood up in front of his congregation and solemnly admitted that he had committed adultery some 20 years ago. And it was only one woman, but the board knows, and according to the church's bylaws, he needs to step down. He knows that he has sinned, and he asked their forgiveness. And as the church was giving him a standing ovation, a woman and her husband began to walk to the front. And she said, yeah, I've been in prison for 27 years, not 20. And I was 16 years old at the time. And she went on to say, I'm just going to say, you took my virginity on your office floor. Right. Do you remember that? Because I do. And the audience, I mean, after a while they're listening, they're like, did you do this? Tell us. Right. And he was like, yes, she was 16. Right. And the church really has come around her and is offering her support. They did. She said, she's like, I did not want to shame your family. So I didn't say anything. And it continued into her 20s.
He trying to call it adultery.
I committed adultery. And so it's that type of thing, right? I committed adultery.
Right. Absolutely.
And he is now being investigated. There is an investigation.
And that's good. That's good. Let me walk back something, because Michelle in the chat corrected me and said not all Christians. Okay, so that is not what I meant when I said the Christian way. When I say the Christian way, I always go back to like when we were enslaved, right? And they always wave the Bible at folks, the Africans that were enslaved, and said, hey, this is the Christian way. God wants you to be enslaved. When they were raping enslaved women, it was like, God wants this to happen. God wants me to own you. So they always use Christianity to get what they want. So that's what I meant when I said the Christian way. I'm not saying all Christians.
And here's the thing. I know better than that. And when we're talking about this type of behavior in the church, they're still using God as an excuse.
They're using God as an excuse. And not all, we're just saying these people are. They just are. That's what they do.
The Southern Baptist Convention, because that's what we are speaking of. That Southern is their Baptist Christian Convention. Way.
Yes.
That is obviously their Christian way.
And Ronnie Floyd, is that the president? Because he is the one that prayed over Donald Trump in the Oval Office. Remember Donald Trump that time in the Oval Office? He was having hands laid on him, and
Diamond Silk was there.
I think so. It was Ronnie Floyd. He is a part of the Southern Baptist Convention, and I don't know what part.
Of course, he would pray over Trump. Girl, moving on from this filth. Just one more thing, but it lets you know why Congress can't do anything about Matt Gaetz.
Right.
All right. I'm gonna say.
Let's move on to Wells Fargo, because Wells Fargo is in the news once again, and it's never anything good with Wells Fargo. So apparently Wells Fargo has been in an attempt to increase their diversity efforts, or make it seem like they're increasing their diversity efforts, have been conducting fake interviews. You've heard it, guys. Fake interviews for positions that are already filled. So they can make it seem when they're audited that they have been keeping up with that diversity and inclusion, guys. But no, Wells Fargo out here faking the funk. And then had to nerve to fire an executive who questioned it, was like, listen, why am I doing interviews for these positions that are already filled? What is this? And they fired him.
Let me tell you something. Wells Fargo has to be the shadiest of shady banks that has existed in a really long time. And all of those people that went for those interviews and you were not even going to be considered, check your credit, because they probably open up accounts in your name. You don't even know it. Because remember that scandal?
2 million fake account. It was 2 million.
Yo,
what bank does that? What, you call yourself a bank and you're making, so you're the scammer. We live in a world where banks are scammers and predatory. Like, wow. So I guess, like, because you would ask yourself, well, how do they even know that they're dealing with Black people when they're calling them in for an interview? But I know that I've applied to some positions where you actually have to, you do it online, and they're asking you those questions.
Because they're asking it for government purposes, because they have to report that type of stuff.
Exactly. Because that's a part of the diversity part. Like, hey, listen, look, they're diverse. They're saying they are. So we're doing an interview. Wow. Come on, Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo just need to go bankrupt, but someone needs to buy them. I don't think
to buy them out.
Yeah, there's no help in Wells Fargo. I'm sorry, anyone who has a Wells Fargo loan. I actually had a Wells Fargo car loan some years ago.
I have never dealt with them. Yeah, DA, they pulled an NFL Brian Flores move. Yeah, let's have them down here and check that box.
They sure did. And people calling back and they're like, nope, we filled it. Thank you, though.
Well, you know what? But here's the thing. Here's the crazy part these days. Jobs do not necessarily let you know if they have selected another candidate. Okay, I guess, what, if you interview, then yes, they will tell you. But when you're sending them resumes.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if even phone interviews counted.
Ooh.
Wells Fargo's just dirty.
Phoenix, but not only dirty but dumb. You fired the exec. Like, what do you think was going to happen? He's going to tell everybody.
Because he had already been talking to somebody about what he did not find kosher.
Right, exactly. Because there were, I think I read that there were a group, like 5 executives who were down for the cause, who were actually doing these interviews. But this one guy was like, no, this isn't right. So he's the one that got fired. So now they're being investigated once again.
There we go.
Wells Fargo, run away, guys. Let's see, where are we at now? Executive order.
Yeah,
that happened. Fun times. Biden did. So this week was the second year anniversary of, I don't know what you call it, anniversary of George Floyd's untimely death. Biden, it's interesting. He did sign an executive order. Was that yesterday? What is today? Today's day is 26. So yesterday on the date that George Floyd was murdered, and he signed it in front of George Floyd's family. I guess it's called the Accountability, Policing, and Criminal Justice Practices. So it's like a guideline for federal police. So it's not, the local
not
and
state
the state
binding.
Yeah, it's for federal, but it does create certain things like the national database.
Okay, for police misconduct.
For police misconduct. I'm sorry,
girl.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You're fine. Beautiful necklace. By the way.
Thank you.
But we have to start somewhere.
Yeah,
and here's the thing: if there are federal guidelines in place and you have states that are just out there zapping out, acting crazy, you can't say, well, we
didn't know,
have anything to go on.
Right. Right.
No, here are the guidelines. Here
are the guidelines. Exactly. It mandates the adoption of body-worn cameras, which is good. It also bans chokeholds.
Okay.
Yeah. And it limits the amount of force you can use. So those are some good lines. And those are the things that are actually in the George Floyd Act. Did he say, do I have a pearl necklace also? And it's funny. I thought DA was going to come on here and call me Rick James, because every time I look in the mirror, Rick James, when he had that, he's a very
Your hair is actually cute. Yes, I know.
But it looks like about.
You are so crazy.
I look in the mirror, I see Rick James, but I digress. So what time is it? 8:30. So yes, that did happen. There's not much to talk about with that, but I do want to mention before we move on, that there is a George Floyd Foundation. You guys are welcome to donate to it. The George Floyd Foundation was started right after George Floyd's death. They do programming. They gave out $65,000 in scholarships, I believe, last year. They're pushing for George Floyd, the George Floyd Act and legislation surrounding police brutality. So I am going to link that also in our description. So that is something too, if you like to donate to causes, it is a good cause to donate to.
Yeah.
So we are at the halfway mark. I was going back and forth on whether I wanted to do quotes and questions, because it didn't feel good, but we've had some smiles on our faces now, so I guess we can do it. We can do it. You're smiling, so I've smiled too. I didn't think I would be able to smile, so this is good. So let's get into quotes and questions. Okay. These are from the week, so I'm sorry. I'm apologizing ahead of time. These are the week's quotes. So let's get to it. First quote. Well, you know what? Let's do a fun question. Name the flavor of ice cream Walmart tried to profit off of.
Oh man, I heard this. Oh. Oh man, Michelle. I can't remember what it is. I heard this story.
Name the flavor of ice cream Walmart tried to profit off of.
I cannot remember, because I remember reading it was like, oh really now?
And Black Twitter just that fire. Yes. Juneteenth.
Oh, right.
Girl, right. What is wrong with you, Walmart? What is wrong with you? I guess they had other things too, like t-shirts and stuff that they pulled off the racks. Stop playing, Walmart.
Girl, see, I heard it, and I would have been in Walmart dumping that ice cream in the aisle. Do you hear me? They'd have had to carry me out of there.
If I saw that in someone's cart, girl, I'd be like, what are you doing with that? Are you crazy? What? Oh, they got Juneteenth.
And then didn't it have some red, white, and blue on it?
Girl, some type of, and then the flavor was like, what was it? Red velvet and some other stuff. You know anything about that, DA? You like red velvet?
I love red velvet cake.
Yeah. I don't know, girl. Anyway, okay.
We digress.
Okay, quote. Tired of talk about our state being the best state in the country to do business, and we are the worst state to live. Tired of talk about our state being the best state in the country to do business, and we are the worst state to live.
Speak it. Speak the truth.
Black woman, natural hair. Politician. It was chicken and
I'm not a politician. Okay.
Chicken and watermelon flavored
Ew.
ice cream.
No,
don't give anyone any ideas.
Don't give Ben and Jerry's any ideas because we will have to revolt against them.
Exactly. Oh my God.
And I love me some double chocolate fudge. Don't do it, Ben and Jerry's. Don't listen to DA.
They'll do it. They'll have a Lay's potato chip called chicken.
Girl, because Lay's
watermelon
will chip up at anything.
Yeah, they will.
At this point, a pickle.
Waffles, chicken and I think they had a chip called chicken and waffles. I think they did.
That does not sound appetizing to me. But they probably did. I do like the sour cream and cheddar though. I am a fan of those, I will say.
The funky hair lady.
What, Michelle? The funky hair lady.
Replacement theory ice cream.
We read that at the same time.
I like that.
That would be a good name for the Ben and Jerry's flavor, though.
Imagine CRT.
Now, Ben and Jerry, I give you permission to go out there, create a ice cream flavor called CRT with all proceeds going to HBCUs.
Exactly. Girl.
You got that idea for free. Ben and Jerry's, get on it.
Well, kind of off of Walter's replacement therapy thing. Yeah. Okay. The Congresswoman from Texas. No. Okay. I'm going to read it again. Tired of talk about our state being the best state in the country to do business, and we are the worst state to live in. Black woman, natural hair, Georgia. Now you got it, Michelle. I know you do now.
Mm-hmm.
I know Michelle is also behind. She must really be behind. All right. Okay. Stacey Abrams. I know you have. Yeah, they're both of them.
It only needs one name.
Yeah, Stacey. It was Stacey. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Question or quote. Here's a good one. It takes a monster to kill children, but to watch a monster kill children again and again and do nothing isn't just insanity, but inhumanity. It takes a monster to kill children, but to watch a monster kill children again and again and do nothing isn't just insanity, but inhumanity. Black woman, poet.
Ooh, I have no idea.
And I thought I was giving it away. I said poet.
I'm sorry. When you say poet, if this was Family Feud, I would have said Maya. I'm sorry.
I mean, but that would have been a good guess.
Family Feud. Yeah.
Beto. No, not Beto. Unless Beto's a Black woman poet. Could be in another life. That sounds like something Beto just said, though.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a monster. Okay. Oh, Lindsay. Okay, Michelle. Michelle's right.
Oh, so that was the other one that I thought of. The living.
Yes. Amanda Gorman. Correct. What time is it? Okay, good. Let's see. Okay, this is an easy one. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on HRB. There's a reason: to hold on to power. White male basketball. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on HRB. There's a reason: to hold on to power.
I am speaking of. Oh, look, DA's on. I'm getting ready to give up some sports news. Ha ha ha.
Not unless you're going to talk about the Celtics and what they did to Miami.
I am going to talk about Miami, but not with the Celtics.
I know what you're going to do.
They observed a moment of silence in support for the victims in Texas.
They sure did.
Then they also announced, call your state senators. Yep. And they gave up that number. They said, register to vote. You can go on our website. And the crowd cheered. And of course,
Rubio.
I know
Rubio
somebody
was upset. Rubio was so upset about that. He was so upset.
And guess who was upset with him? Morning Joe, because I caught them this morning because he pointed out, and because we never hear from Rubio. Rubio represents Parkland. His Parkland is in his district. The Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, those victims, those families are in his district. And for him to come out and make a statement like that was just disgusting. Oh, because was this the one in response to that where he was like, yes. So in response
Steve Kerr's the answer.
I'm sorry.
It is Steve Kerr.
It is Steve Kerr. Hey, I'm Drea. In response to that, what was I saying? What was I just talking about?
Rubio.
Oh, right. In response to that, I lost my thought. Never mind.
It's okay, but yes, I appreciate the NBA because remember after George Floyd, the NBA was like, we're not playing. There were teams that were not playing. NFL, forget about it. They're trying to do anything like that. But the NBA, they do allow their players and people to.
That's what I wanted to say very quickly. Rubio's response to the NBA, to the Heat, was saying, you all should be worried about the human rights issues in China.
Right. I did see that.
Wading into politics. I saw that this morning because they were like, it's the whatchamaballism. It's anything else but. Now, instead of talking about these slain victims in Texas or even Buffalo, you're talking about human rights in China. What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Right.
So just anything. And for him to say something like that, but not even speak on the victims that are going through the same thing. That went through the same thing in his district not that long ago. I mean, Sandy Hook was 10 years ago. Parkland was not.
Girl, we're gonna get
anyway. We're gonna move on.
We're getting back there. Let's do. It's late. Okay, one more question. Who in the chat had a birthday this week? That is the last question.
Hey.
Who in the chat had a birthday this week?
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
Who had a birthday this week? Come on, y'all. Somebody in your chat. Someone from the Q Hive. Yes, Andrea. Happy birthday, Andrea. Michelle. I believe your birthday is in March. Happy birthday, Andrea. We appreciate you. So last, but clearly not least, we are going to talk a little about what's been going on all week long. I know you guys are tired of talking about it, tired of hearing about it, but we have not spoken about it here. So many levels to this thing. I really don't know where to start because it's so much. It's so much.
I wouldn't say tired of talking about it. I am going to look
tired of the topic, girl. Like tired of having to talk about
as a safe space to release what we feel. And also people in the chat, go ahead and feel free to, say how you feel as well. Because it's, yes, the Texas incident is in the news, but it's so much larger than that. There was an incident in New York on Sunday. right on top of Buffalo. They are still burying their people. But back to Texas.
Back to Texas, 19 children and 2 adults were murdered in Uvalde, Texas, at an elementary school.
Robb Elementary School.
Yes, at Robb Elementary School. As usual, the thoughts and prayers are going out.
Before you say that, I just wanted to point out, as far as the elementary school, because I didn't realize this, but I guess it's different in different parts of the country. Okay. Our elementary schools consist of pre-K. At this point, our model is it's either pre-K through 8, and then they transition on to high school. I didn't realize they had schools that encapsulated 2nd through 4th graders.
Oh, we have that here. Like
I didn't.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I've never, we've gone through different iterations. At one point when I was in school, it was kindergarten through 6, and then you went to junior high for 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then high school or whatever. I had no idea. And they were only in 2nd through 4th grade.
Yeah. So this week, after it happened, because I dropped my kid off, that's 13, at school every morning, I take more time, right? I know she's like, why is she sitting there in the car? Because I'm just watching her, because you don't know when it's going to be your last time. And she gets out the car and she's so happy to be with her friends, because you hear these kids saying, my best friend, right? There was an EMS guy, I know I'm going to be all over the place, and he was there because he was waiting to hear about his daughter, but also helping the other kids. And a little girl was saying, my best friend, she's dead. And he's like, who's your best friend? It's his daughter. It was his daughter. These Republicans, because we have to stop saying Congress is holding this up. We have to stop saying the government. It is the Republicans are now blaming it on. It's the mental illness. People with mental illness. We need more mental illness facilities.
Wait a minute. That is Governor Abbott. Let's right. be clear. We're going to call Google.
Well, they're all saying that. Well, all of the Republicans are saying the same thing at this point.
Of course they are. But I mean, he actually, in relation to this specific incident, with this man having no history of mental illness, is immediately shifting the blame. Immediately shifting blame.
On the community too. He said in his press, sir, he said the community is wrought with mental illness. This community.
And we're going to get them some services. But, and like you said, we're going to be all over the place with this.
Yeah, sorry.
He just cut funding for mental health services.
Right.
So if you know that mental illness is fueling this violence, these mass murders and things, why are you cutting services to it? Especially when in your particular state, you've had a few over the past few years.
Girl.
I mean, Pulse nightclub, the Walmart, where the guy targeted the Walmart located in the Latino community. So y'all, you got a whole bunch of sick people down there, Governor Abbott. Why are you cutting services?
To fund that political stunt, sending everyone on a bus to the White House that was coming over the border. That's what he did with that funding. But I digress. I mean, So also, we know it's bullshit. Biden called it earlier. He's like, hey, other countries have tons of mental illness. They're not shooting up the goddamn place. Australia is not shooting up the goddamn place. New Zealand, remember they had that one mass shooting.
New Zealand, if you are listening to me, you are still on my list of countries to move to if America continues to nosedive.
It's true.
They had that shooter. It was within a week the assault weapons were done.
Just
Bye.
done. Just done.
Jacinda Ardern, I want to say her name. I love their primaries.
Right. Yeah.
She is no joke. And the country was behind her.
Right. And the interesting thing is, like, even if we don't ban assault weapons, right? Because we know everyone's
used to be banned.
I know, but right. And that's what ultimately we would love to have. But just for the sake of trying to get something done, the minimal that the Republicans can do, the minimal is a red flag law. Background check, like that's goddamn minimum,
right? If mental health, if all the mentally ill people out here are getting these guns, why wouldn't you put something in place to prevent the mentally ill from getting the gun?
Right, because you think medication is gonna, like, what if they stop doing medication? Like, and this is all bullshit. We're just talking about it because this is what Governor Abbott said. We don't truly believe that because that puts a stigma on mental illness. Mental ill people are not running around doing this. It's not all mental illness.
The other thing, well, in addition to Mexican being rapists, Latinos are just mentally ill. Because the community is 90% Latino, and the school was 70% Latino.
Right.
All of those children's faces were not Latino that were killed.
Right.
So
it's just, it's very frustrating. They don't want to talk about it. None of them, when the reporters are asking them questions on it, but still, why is an 18-year-old allowed to buy an assault rifle in Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? They can't answer that question. It's deflection. Girl, they can buy, an 18-year-old cannot buy a handgun, but he can buy.
An 18-year-old cannot even buy cigarettes.
But he can't buy a handgun in Texas.
Buy alcohol.
No, but that's how.
Can't rent a car.
Right, but I'm saying that's how backwards it is in Texas. They can't buy the handgun, but they can buy an assault rifle in Texas, is what I'm saying.
Oh, right.
Right, because you know why? Because they're going back to the old school days when kids hunted with their dads, and so it was a rifle, right? So the idea was, no, people don't walk around with rifles because we use rifles to hunt rabbits and ducks and stuff. Correct. But now these are assault rifles, so the laws need to change. And like, if an 18-year-old comes into your store to buy an assault rifle, like, what do you think he's just gonna put it in his bedroom in his closet?
Here's the thing: you can't do anything with an assault
rifle.
That's
what I'm saying. Like,
I was watching somebody. They said it shreds anything that it hits. Like, you can't hunt with it. You wouldn't have anything. He said you wouldn't have anything to hang on your wall. I figured who it was. Like, you can't do anything with that assault rifle. You cannot do anything with it.
And stay right there with that, because they allowed an 18-year-old, Governor Abbott, Cruz, the other senator from Texas, allowed an 18-year-old to buy this weapon and to get the ammunition for this weapon. These people cannot identify their children. They had to use DNA. They can't even have a regular a funeral because there are no bodies. And we're going to get into this. And because that man was in there for an hour with an assault weapon, he was probably shooting the same bodies over and over fucking again. I can't even imagine what it looked like in there. I can't even imagine. They probably just used clothes. Yeah, you know what? They know that somebody was
identified. Yeah, I sent my child in a purple shirt
because there's body parts everywhere.
Today was the last day of school.
The last day of school.
Graduation at the high school was supposed to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is just.
Let's talk about the cover up.
Girl,
because this is the part where, you go from being sad to just being fucking mad, because this is the bullshit, because Abbott says no politics. Yeah, you're putting politics. What do you call Beto? What do you call Beto? A son of a bitch, girl?
Was it Abbott that called him a son of a bitch?
Or was it the other guy?
I thought it was the other guy. I don't know. Anyway, Beto gets to be a son of a bitch because he dared say, "You're not telling us everything." What did my text to you say? I can quote it. this is going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
And it already is. When we were talking last night, oh my God, I had one set of information and you had something else. And
I was going crazy.
Again.
Right. When you looked it up and I'm like, I know I heard something different, but I'm like, okay.
Remember you said that he engaged.
Right.
Like the officers were chasing him and they chased him into the thing and they engaged and then he got into the classroom and that did go out. Right. But by the time I read the story, it was like they hadn't chased him there. He just crashed his car on his own. And there was a resource officer outside that engaged him, but engaging
that engage again.
Armed and engaged, right?
Right. Yeah.
The illusion or the
exactly
that they exchanged gunfire. Now, today's updated story, three different stories. There was no engagement whatsoever. And one person offered up, it could be because he was already outgunned. Well, damn it, if you arm the damn teachers, what are they going to be?
Girl, that timeline
is trying to look after 20 kids.
And
have a shootout with a AR-15, 16, 25.
And that's so untrue because what happened was, like you said, after Abbott's presser, today they had the safety office commissioner, whoever, come down and lie some more and just put his foot in his mouth, right? Because now he's trying to give a timeline and try to speak in like them code words.
But those parents were outside.
Yeah. 11:30, that car crashed, or 11:28, it crashed. And you know why? Because people live across the goddamn street from the school that heard it, saw it, called the police. Called the police. Police did not get there until like, what was it? It was like a 12-minute time span when they said the police department is 1.2 miles. That is 5 minutes driving under the speed limit, like 1 minute driving as a police officer to get there. And he was been shooting at people at a funeral.
Well, let's clarify, because by this time there had to have been at least 2 911 calls because he had shot his grandmother in the face and she was able to call 911.
Exactly.
And then any neighbors hearing that a car crash would have also called in a car crash.
And so he shot at the people at the funeral across the street. He was outside for 10 or 12 minutes shooting at people before he even went inside. And
where was the school resource officer?
He was not there. So then he got inside. He just wasn't there at all? He wasn't there at all. There's no police resource officer was there at all. He walked into the school, nothing. And then we just found out before we came on, 4 classrooms were involved because we thought 2. Right. We thought they were in one room with a divider, making it 2 classrooms, and he barricaded it because that's what they kept saying. Barricaded it.
See, I got that it was two adjoining classrooms.
That's
so now it's 4.
It's 4. They found bodies in 4 classrooms.
So he finished off one.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
He's walking around. He was there for an hour. Of course he could walk around. He was inside for an hour.
That makes it so sad that it was 2nd to 4th grade. They were always going to be defenseless.
Right.
High school students,
right.
Maybe someone is brave, picks up a chair or something.
Right.
They were just defenseless. Those teachers, every one of them could have been armed. We're going to be defenseless because their first instinct was going to be to protect.
Yeah, to protect the kids. How are you holding
a shootout?
Right.
Oh my God, he's holding an assault rifle. I have a 9mm with 10 in the clip. If I fire at him once and misses, he can blow off my entire classroom in less than a minute.
But meanwhile, you have the police around the perimeter trying to arrest the parents that hear their kids crying, that hear the gunshots, that are trying to get in. One woman got away. They put one woman in handcuffs. She saw someone she knew from the neighborhood. She got her handcuffs off. Girl, she ran into the school and got her kids out of that school. She got her 2 kids out of that school.
While the shooter was still in there?
Yeah.
Or after?
While this could, remember, it's an hour. He was in there for an hour with no one going inside of that school. He was in there for 1 hour before the Border Patrol tactical team. They were all waiting for the Border Patrol.
Like, didn't nobody else have a tactical team? Didn't nobody else have? Where's SWAT?
They have a SWAT team. Uvalde has a SWAT team.
Where were they?
Okay, so I don't know about your police cars, but when I see our police cars parked somewhere, they have an automatic rifle in the back. It's hung up in the back. They always have a rifle in the back of those police cars. This is fucking Texas. They love the guns. So you're telling me that your police department could not shoot through a barricade because you didn't have the proper weaponry? You're Texas. How does your police not have the proper weaponry when y'all are horny for guns? How is that a fucking thing? How can that be?
You want to be able to let 18-year-olds go out and get assault rifles?
But right.
Let's see how that flies when they start using them on law enforcement.
Well, we see what they do. Law enforcement don't go in. We see what they did.
No, what I'm saying, instead of what if he had walked into a police station and just decided to let loose instead of an elementary school?
You know, the former of Homeland Security.
I guess they would long rifles with AKs. So let me just not say anything.
Yeah, but they still, you know, this the former head of the God, I just forgot, Homeland Security was saying today, he's like, even on a trained person's great day, a determined killer with that kind of weaponry, we have a hard time getting them down. So you're asking teachers? How are they
to ensure that she's going to do a kill shot, and he won't turn on the kids.
Meanwhile, the kids are pulling at her
in the middle of all of this, right?
Traumatized.
What if he comes from the back of the classroom and she's at the desk? She going to shoot across the room?
But girl, where is she putting it? While she's at the chalkboard, she's got her rifle right here next to her. This is
right. Are we keeping it unlocked?
This is the Republican
because
solution.
A locked gun does no one no good.
Exactly. So this is the Republican thing. There's like more guns. You know why more guns? More money to the NRA. Like this is none of this.
Because we going over time, but no, let's
keep going.
Let's wrap it up with Abbott, Trump, and I think Rubio all attending the NRA annual convention being held in Texas, Houston, Texas. Yes, let's have all the loonies show up with their guns and rifles.
Yeah. Oh, no. Wait, hold on. Guns are not allowed inside.
What?
Guns are not allowed inside, girl. You can't take a gun into that convention. Fact. You cannot take a gun into that convention. Right.
I'm going to say this. Between Texas, Abbott, between Kemp, Georgia, between Oklahoma, Mississippi, the abortion ban bills, Democrats, we're being handed the midterms.
Right. Yeah.
When you want something done, you got to get the shit done yourself.
Yeah.
Just get out here and get the people in office. Oh, and one more thing, we have to go.
Okay,
I was watching Joy Reid last night.
Yeah.
And forget who she had on. It was a former congressman. He was saying that we do not need 10 senators to overturn the filibuster. He said we simply need to flip 4 or 5 more seats to make Manchin and Sinema irrelevant.
Right.
We do not need them. So people, he just broke it down into bite size for us.
Yeah.
We don't need not 10. Yeah. It's not insurmountable. We just need to get to that daggone voting booth and get your vote in. Get your
vote in. This should fuel you. You know, let's not forget they're taking abortion away. Let's not forget that is happening.
All right.
In a few weeks.
We got a trifecta going on.
That is going to happen. But before we sign off, we do, instead of doing Black Excellence Honor, decided that we should honor some heroes of Uvalde. Mm-hmm. So Irma Garcia. She was the co-teacher at Robb Elementary School. She was found holding children in her class. She taught at the school for 23 years. She has 4 children of her own. And unfortunately, her husband did die of a heart attack today. They were married for over 20 years. That's unbelievably sad to lose your mom that way. And then your dad literally died of heartbreak. They were childhood sweethearts. Eva Mireles taught the 4th grade. She was a 17-year educator. She took pride in teaching. She loved teaching students of Latino heritage, and she died protecting students. It was said that she jumped in front of her kids. I'm sure there's a lot of stories like this that are going to come out. We cannot forget Ameri Jo Garza, 10 years old. She was a little girl who just got her cell phone. She was shot calling 911. Let's honor the parents who started breaking windows and breaking doors to get into that school, to get their kids out of that school. Remember, it was a full hour before the tactical team came in. Those parents, they said, were there barefoot. Some parents were in their work uniforms. There were parents in pajamas, and they were breaking windows and helping to get the kids out. I'm not going to say that all the cops were not doing anything, because I imagine that a lot of them did. There are reports that
at least one of those cops had a child at the school.
There were reports that there were cops that came, ran in, got their children out.
And left.
Those are the reports.
I said, I'm going to say it again. We're just going to Texas. I'm so sorry this happened to y'all.
Yeah, me too.
Under Governor Abbott.
This won't be the last state. If we Democrats, independents, if you're listening, don't go out and vote. Like, we just have to keep saying this. We always say it, but this is just going to be more of this and more of this, because they're not going to change. And once they actually really get power, once they have the House, if they have the House and the Senate, or even just the Senate.
Can you imagine the laws they're going to pass?
Gay marriage, they're coming for you. Can you imagine the Republican Party says, we're going to arm teachers, but we don't want y'all to wear masks for COVID. We don't want y'all to get vaccines. Like the things that save people, they're against. And all the things, all these thoughts and prayers. Guess what? Not one of them prayed for Texas. They didn't pray for Buffalo. You know what they did when they went home? They called their stockbroker to see how their stocks were doing. They called the NRA funders to say, we got this under control. They checked their bank accounts. They kissed their kids and they said goodnight. They didn't pray for you. That's it. That's all I got to say. Yeah. So happy birthday, Andrea. Thank you guys for coming. Michelle, Ghost, DA. I'm sure you're back watching basketball. We get it. It's okay. Thanks for stopping by. Walter, thank you for coming by, guys. It's a long weekend. Try to enjoy it. It is.
Try to get some enjoyment and joy out of life. It is short and it is precious.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you, Honor.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, guys. We will see you next week.
Yeah.